Okay then everybody, day one of the Open in the books. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Did you get a chance to watch much of the golf today? I watched about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Obviously it was a work day for me, was coaching and helping a good few people. It was a busy day, nice busy day to finish the short week for myself. If my voice sounds a bit off, I lost it watching the football yesterday, which has turned out to be a pointless sacrifice, as I'm sure you're all aware. So a little bit tired of talking. My talking energy is low, so I do apologise. Not perfect for filming a podcast, but nonetheless we are delivering you a podcast. Yeah, as I said, let us know if you've watched any of today. Let us know if you were there today. Let us know if you're going to be there over the next couple of days, because we are going to be there over the next couple of days. Myself and Ben will be live and direct from Birkdale to talk all things Open Championship and give our thoughts at the end of each day. Obviously Ben's not with us today, but you're going to get a fair share of his likely controversial and matter-of-fact thoughts over the course of the rest of the weekend. So obviously you've just got myself today, and hopefully I can give you a decent enough summary of what we've seen there at the Open, as well as a couple of thoughts of mine which have been kind of circulating in my head a little bit on my drive back from work here. Obviously apologies for the video quality for those of you watching on YouTube. This is probably a little bit more for you guys listening on audio. Let's rattle through the points. Jackson Suba is the sole leader, the solo leader, at 5 under par, coming home in 65. That's a hell of a knock out there. I think he teed it up in the afternoon, and with that in mind, the wind getting up a little bit more in the afternoon, he's done a hell of a good job to get himself that one-shot lead. Yeah, fair play to Jackson Suba. Not many are familiar with Jackson Suba. He's having a very well, below average year on the PGA Tour this year. He's not been on the tour, or he's not been a household name on the tour before. So it'll be interesting to see if he can kick on into tomorrow. You know, we've had this a couple of times, obviously an amateur, but Christopher Lamprecht, I think is Lamprecht, the big 6'7" South African, had a really good start at Hoylake, I want to say it was, a couple of years ago, and then fell off a cliff after that. So hopefully Jackson Suba can keep it up for his sake, and hopefully he can earn himself a good bit of money this week, because he's got off onto a really strong start. What other names are up there? Not an awful lot is up there right now in terms of big names. Okay, we'll go through the big names in just a second, but the biggest name of which is Bryson DeChambeau at 3 under. We just got to touch on Dan Brown firstly, though. What a sort of, I mean, what a guy. I mean, the guy had an unbelievable campaign at Troon a couple of years ago. He was well in the mix. He was having a fantastic week, and he did have a fantastic week, and he's a hell of a character, Dan Brown. He's also got a really pretty golf swing. I think that goes under the radar because of how loose he is off the course and on the social media. He is ridiculously funny, but his golf swing is incredibly not under talked about. Have a look at his golf swing, guys. Very sort of simple, on plane, great body rotation, you know, very, as I said, simple, short, beautiful tempo, beautiful rhythm, very balanced, great setup, a lot of fundamentals you want to copy from Dan Brown's game. So and I actually think that little bit of, you know, a little bit of a laid off, or sorry, not laid off, like a bit of a shorter backswing. I think that suits kind of link style golf a little bit more than your big drawn out PGA Tour layouts, which Dan Brown is obviously testing his skill on this year, and he's not doing the best out there on the PGA Tour at the moment. And I think he'll be one to admit that himself. So fair play to Dan Brown. Let's hope he continues. I think he's someone who, if he teed it up this morning, he'll be out in the afternoon tomorrow. I'll be following Dan Brown tomorrow. I want to get behind Dan Brown after I've maybe watched some of the bigger groups. Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, am I I was really quite angry when I saw his interview after the round today, and I don't know whether to go in on him. I feel like I've done enough of my sort of. I feel like I've laid my stance down with Bryson enough. I mean, I'm a golf coach by trade. I need to keep my thoughts always balanced, and I need to make sure I don't go outlandish with my thoughts, but also I think it's a time on the podcast, and the podcast was made for me to give candid thoughts. Am I the only one that doesn't get it with Bryson? Like, I don't know. I mean, I work with a lot of kids who want to get better at golf and want to have a career in golf, maybe follow in footsteps similar to mine and become a pro one day. Obviously, a lot of the kids' dreams is become playing pros later on in their career, and if they were to do that, I'd be absolutely ecstatic, on the condition they didn't act and behave like Bryson DeChambeau does. He's the one player who, if someone said you could interview every single player on tour and every single player in the field this week, I'd say absolutely, except for with Bryson DeChambeau. I know he's putting on an act. The nice guy facade is an act. I'll just tell you how it is. To me, he's a total utter wanker. And that's as much as I'll say on him. He reminds me of the guy in school who kind of, obviously he does all this amazing stuff, 3D printed irons, and he's really ahead of the game when it comes to in his head he's transcending the game with everything that he does. But I think the way he acts, he reminds me of a kid in school who thinks he's more intelligent than everybody else and acts like it, and then actually when you look at his grades, whilst they're respectable at times, he puts in the odd test where he does really, really poorly. But no one dare mention it to him, because he knows best. He knows better than everybody, and I'm referring obviously to his interview today as a response to Nick Faldo's interview, who Nick Faldo, that is an abrasive character as well. Nick Faldo at his best was not the most liked person out on tour. Far from it. The media didn't like him. Fellow pros, you needed to get to know Nick, Sir Nick, to really understand that he was a nice guy, but I think his social skills weren't really up to par. I don't think he fit in that well with other golfers, and so it created a lot of tension. And I think that obviously sometimes comes across in his media work, but I also think he's very well respected in the media. You look at his career with CBS and with Sky as well. When Nick Faldo is on commentary, you put weight into what he's saying, and there are other sports where this has happened. I think back, obviously I'm a Manchester United fan, when to be fair, how the turntables, because I'm not the biggest Paul Pogba fan in the world, but I think back to growing up, and Paul Pogba was one of our players, and you defend your players with everything that you have, and Paul Pogba had many critics, and one critic in particular, Graham Souness, would always clap back with, look at my trophy cabinet, and right then and there I said, it's not always about what you've won, it's about what you can bring to the table. But in this instance, Nick Faldo has been incredibly more successful than Bryson DeChambeau, and I know Bryson DeChambeau's career and story is still being written, but he's been incredibly more successful and a better player. So on two fronts, Nick Faldo also, by the way, has won 3 Open Championships. Bryson has, I don't know what his record is exactly, but he's missed a fair few. He's missed more than one cut at an Open. So to come out and to be this guy, it's one thing doing that when you lead the tournament by 3 on the first day because you've shot 8 under par around an incredibly tough layout. He's shot 3 under par, he's in a tie for 4th, and he's coming out with his he's coming out with these big comments. It doesn't rub well with me. And also when the wind gets a bit more up later on in the day tomorrow and the conditions aren't as perfect for him, does Bryson break par tomorrow? You give me the answer. I'm gonna come on the side of the coin that's no. I bet you Bryson doesn't break par tomorrow, and we're not going to be seeing him with his chest out and all confident tomorrow. It's going to be tail between the legs, Bryson, knowing that he's maybe 5-6 shots back off the lead, albeit still well within a chance. He's had a good round there today, Bryson. That's enough time talking about Bryson for me. Rory McIlroy 2 over par, disappointing. He'll be disappointed, but he's still in the golf tournament. You'd like to think when he gets out there tomorrow, around the time when I'm going to get to the golf course, you think he's going to get out there and he's going to attack. I don't think the wind's going to get below 7 miles per hour for any players out on the golf course tomorrow. So conditions aren't going to be perfect for anybody out there tomorrow. However, Rory's going to have to take advantage of the conditions. It wasn't perfect. And then Scotty Scheffler, who got up to 4 under at one point and then found himself in a little bit of trouble, found himself in a couple of pot bunkers from the fairway, and you know, he got off to a really, really hot start. I think he might have been 4 under through his first 6 holes, playing really solid golf, and then the back 9 it kind of caught up with Scheffler. But there's no gimmies out there at Birkdale. It's set up tough. It's set out firm, it's set out fast, and you add a bit of wind to those conditions out there over the course of the week, and I don't think anybody's going to run away scoring wise. You know, they're going to tuck a few more pins away, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see where the scoring is at, and I think not letting someone run away with it, I think, is better for this golf tournament. I want to see a bunch together leaderboard, and I want to see people fighting and earning their way to the top of the leaderboard, and I think that's going to happen. I think the R&A have done a fantastic job from what I've seen setting up the golf course. There are a few risk and reward holes, of which Bryson has obviously highlighted some of his aggressive lines off the tee. He's hit some fantastic shots there today, Bryson, so there's no knocking that. Going to be really interesting to see there tomorrow. It's going to be really interesting tomorrow to scope out the golf course. As I said, guys, let us know if you're there. Let us know what you think about Bryson. Does Bryson have a chance? Bryson's the biggest name in the top 20 of the leaderboard there. I think Scheffler might be in the top 20, actually, thinking about it. At least in the top 10, he's the biggest name. So does Bryson continue his form into tomorrow? Do you like Bryson? Do you think Scheffler has a good round tomorrow? And if so, do you think it's his to lose? Obviously, there's a few names up there who you'd be thinking probably fall back a little bit over the next couple of days. So will the likes of Bryson, Scheffler, even McIlroy, even though he's a bit back from the lead at the moment, will those guys make up that gap and force themselves to the top of the leaderboard? Let me know your thoughts, guys. We will be in touch with you guys over the course of tomorrow. Stay tuned with our social media, stay tuned to what we've got posted and coming your way, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. I'm sure you guys will enjoy the content that we've got coming your way over the next few days. I'm sure, looking forward to making it for you guys. Okay then, guys, we will catch you tomorrow for a day 2 review live from Royal Birkdale. We'll see you then.